Hello all. Wonder Man, the tale of a man coming to terms with his past, making connections and friendships before understanding the true meaning of self-sacrifice. But enough about Trevor Slattery, let's talk about the Wonder Man series, and there may be some spoilers. Whatever you expected this to be from the trailers, it isn't. They were false advertising at its peak. Instead of being an irreverent show poking fun at the superhero fatigue and the genre, it takes itself relatively seriously, and when it does, it generally works. This is the love letter to Hollywood we were told it was, and more so to pretentious, self-obsessed dickhead actors. For the most part, it takes that circle jerk seriously, despite the protagonist often coming across as a pretentious narcissistic clown. There is some good stuff, generally from Ben Kingsley's Trevor Slattery, who is actually the star of the series. Simon Williams is really just a foil. Equally, Kingsley carries off the pretentious actor stuff with a bigger dose of charisma. Yaya not so much, which is odd because he's a good actor. There is some nice interaction between the two, mostly in the first 3 episodes, which aren't too bad despite the odd painful scene, before its quality drops considerably until the end of episode 7. One episode is pointless, one is an unadulterated clown show, 2 are mostly cringeworthy, and the final is meh. Not much happens really, barely any action, which was intentional apparently, and it framed Simon as a Hulk-like figure, trying to control his emotions. But we've seen that before.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
There is a good idea in there, but it gets buried under the excess baggage. Simon doesn't grow, doesn't go on a journey. He starts as a self-serving narcissist and clown and ends that way. Funny thing is, he knows it, but he still doesn't change. Now, you can headcanon the reasons behind elements of his personality, his lack of friends and personal interactions due to his constant need to control himself, leaving him too much in his own head, closed off with poor social skills. Sure, it's kind of there, but eclipsed by the fact he's an unlikable asshole, and that it's inconsistently dealt with as well. I wonder if it would have worked better if Simon was younger and more inexperienced, rather than a 39-year-old man. There is a point in the show where Simon's dad takes him to see the Wonder Man film when Simon's a kid. I guess you can connect to a character on screen that doesn't look like you after all. Who knew, eh? Anyway, his dad's advice to his superpowered child after seeing a tale of an inspirational hero: become an actor. It's hardly with great power comes great responsibility, is it? Much like with Ironheart, the MCU has introduced another unheroic hero. But unlike Ironheart, this Wonder Man bears little resemblance to his comic counterpart. As I presumed earlier, the writers saw he was an actor in the comics and warped the character to fit the narrative they wanted to spin. They haven't written a story about Wonder Man, they've just written a story and plonked his name on it. For those who want to know, I discussed this in a previous video. I've clipped it here so you can see, feel free to skip, I'll put timings on the video. This is Wonder Man. He first appeared in Avengers 9 way back in 1964, created by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby and Don Heck. Simon Williams, aka Wonder Man, blames the failure of his company and ensuing incarceration on Tony Stark, and accepts an offer from Baron Zemo to infiltrate the Avengers and get his revenge by turning on them at a crucial moment. Simon is imbued with superhuman strength and durability by Zemo. However, to ensure his loyalty, the Baron has created a failsafe. If Simon doesn't receive a periodical dose of a serum, he'll die. The Avengers are lured into a trap and captured. However, Wonder Man turns on Zemo, saves the Avengers and helps them defeat the Masters of Evil, but at the cost of his own life. Hank Pym recorded Wonder Man's brain patterns after his death in the hope that one day they could revive him. Brain patterns later used by Ultron in the creation of Vision. Sounds like a Wikipedia post? Well, possibly, but I actually own the comic. Simon isn't actually dead, but in a type of coma, and after several villains try to use his reanimated corpse against the Avengers, he finally regains consciousness, and it's revealed that he's no longer human, but a being of ionic energy. This and the ensuing run was what really made me engage with him. Wonder Man was a powerhouse, with fists that hit like Thor's hammer, and he was nigh on invulnerable, but his death left him with PTSD. Iron Man, Cap and the others charged into battle without a thought, but he was terrified. Every fibre of his being screamed to run, and yet, albeit with the occasional hesitancy, he still charged in, and that made him relatable to me, and in a sense, a real hero. It's easy to be a hero if you're a man without fear, but to be afraid and still step up is real heroism to me. During this time he also dallied with being an actor and a stuntman, and had some success, though I didn't find that part overly interesting. He also became great friends with Beast. I have to admit though, after this, and his moment of clarity whilst fighting Korvac, he was blowing in the wind a bit. He died again and was resurrected by Wanda, spent some time in prison, meandered over to the villainous side. It felt like they didn't really know what to do with him. But I still love the character, and especially these 70s comics. Which is why I commissioned John Byrne to do a picture of Wonder Man fighting Thor. And instead of this is the Wonder Man we're getting. And none of that complex character development, arc or origin are in this. Now there is a Black Wonder Man in the Ultimate Universe, and he appeared in all of 6 comics, 3 of which he was just a background character, and he was never an actor, though many people online will gaslight you into thinking he is. The bad guys are the cop stand-ins, the Department of Damage Control, naturally, and of course Simon comes from a single parent home following his dad's death, and Trevor only ever mentions his mother, so there's that all too common trope yet again. The ending, I guess, is supposed to be redemptive, but apart from not standing up to the smallest amount of scrutiny, it's a self-serving act yet again, which ruins someone else's life. It really is a mixed bag. I hate it because they have created a horrible bastardised version of my favourite childhood character, which means I'm not likely to see the actual Wonder Man on screen. That aside, I like some of the interactions in the oft-touted bromance, which they are very on the nose about, actually referencing it in the show. I like Trevor's arc and his character. I don't mind the overall idea, but it was flabby and full of unnecessary fluff that added nothing. It is probably worth a watch. One of the few MCU shows on Disney Plus that is. So what did you think of it all? Was the fact it was nothing like the comic book character irrelevant to you, or did that spoil your enjoyment? Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. Until next time, peace out.